Boy, that's hard to beat. I mean, how about a big hand for our students? They were wonderful. First of all, I want to recognize that I know that Secretary Duncan points out that if we're ready for the challenge here in California, and I can tell you one thing, that we're honored today to have a lot of superintendents, both from school districts across the state and county superintendents, and I'd like for you to stand because I think they're ready to take this on as well. Thank you. And I also want to thank all the school board members from the respective school districts. You know, Secretary Duncan has put out a big challenge, and so has the Obama administration. I always tell people, be careful what you ask for, because you might get it. And Secretary Duncan, I must say that San Francisco, we're ready to lead. We are ready to take on these challenges. And this isn't just about talk. In fact, I encourage all of you who haven't done it, go on our website, beyondthetalk.org. And that's a shameless commercial, but it's a commercial that talks about the future. It talks about all the values and all the different things that the Secretary and the Obama administration have been talking about. Because it's time in education that we just learn to shut up and start doing. We have talked these issues to death, and yet they still exist. You know, when I was in school, there was an achievement gap. Trust me. You know, I started school only speaking Spanish. I was put in mentally retarded classes when I was in kindergarten and first grade. And, you know, the achievement gap, we called them bluebirds, blackbirds, whatever birds you wanted to call them, but they existed. The great thing that we're doing today is that we're finally calling it what it is. Because the reality is that we cannot continue in this country to view the achievement gap, the difference between those who are the highest achievers and the lowest achievers. We cannot continue to look at that as an academic issue. That is a society issue. That is the most basic, fundamental civil rights issue of our time. How dare we can go to bed at night thinking that over 50% of Latino and African American students are failing in our school systems across this entire nation. That is unacceptable. How dare we can live in a society that can predict your achievement simply by your zip code. That is unacceptable. How do we break the historic power of demographics? How do we finally really talk about equity and access? Because equity and access in San Francisco Unified is social justice. Because you cannot have social justice if people don't have access to the core curriculum. That means in San Francisco, we're ready to take this on. We're ready to make it so that the base curriculum is the A through G requirements to get any student into the top universities of this country. Now, don't get me wrong, folks. That doesn't mean that I'm anti-voc ed, anti all the different laborers, things that need to be done. I want someone who fixes our airplanes. I want someone that fixes our cars. Those things are important. But the skills needed to do that are the same skills needed to go on to college. If you meet with all the unions like I have, all the way from the Carpenters Union to you name it, they all say that we are watering down the curriculum and it's time that we beef it up because the skills set that is required today, even in those fields, is much higher. We are going to do that. We are not going to accept anymore that 50% of our graduates right now in San Francisco, 50% who graduate have not taken the A through G requirements. So where are they supposed to go? We need to fulfill our promises to our parents. That's what really accountability is about. We need to be able to look them in the eye and say, when your child graduates from here, they're going to be the architects of their own future. They will decide whether they want to go into vocational ed or college, university. They will make the decision, and not a system that involves and unfortunately has some elements of racist, institutionalized racism. We cannot accept that anymore in America. We are living in a different world. This world is a global world where we're going to hold people accountable, but we also have to make learning more engaging for students. If we're going to have the A through G requirement, we're not just going to do that overnight. We're going to talk about how do we engage students so that learning is relevant, exciting. Well, how do we have joyful learners in our schools who are at the edge of their seat, excited about what they're going to learn? When are they going to work on project-based learning where it's relevant, where whatever's taught in English and math is actually a project that they take on and they work out in the community to make it happen? It is a new day, and a new day where every child in San Francisco will be career or college ready. There will not be a second-class citizenship here in San Francisco. We need to go beyond the talk. We need to start talking about how do we do this. A school system cannot and will not do this by itself. I'm glad that all of you are here today. This is a good start. But our work is about to begin, because this is the new day where we begin a city. Imagine a city where everything, we're known right now for all the beautiful things San Francisco has, and that's great. Beautiful place, the most beautiful city in the world, some would say, including myself. At the same time, if that's true, then why can't we get to the point where this city is known for being the most kid-friendly city in the country, if not in the world? We need to develop a city that stands up for kids. I think we are in the process of doing that. If you don't believe me, just look at what we've done in this great city. For the city and county, for Tom Amiano to have the vision to create a rainy day fund, because the state isn't bailing us out, but our own city and county is standing up for our children. To live in a community where we've passed Prop H so that we can have music, arts, sports, all those great things that have to be integrated. They are the soul of education. We cannot have a top-notch educational system without music and arts in our schools. To have community-based organizations, almost 300 of them here, coming together and saying, we want to be part of this. We're going to work together. We're going to focus. We're going to think smarter to maximize our resources to get there. To have a new day for learning. Imagine this, one of two cities, the Mott Foundation, that has faith that we could integrate all our services and to work towards one common good. The most important thing on this planet, our children. We do want to talk about 21st century schools, and that's what we're creating here in San Francisco. And these schools aren't like your schools, aren't like my schools when I was in school, or our grandparents' schools. These schools need to be engaging. That means kids need to have at their tip of their fingers technology. They need to be masters of technology. That means kids and parents could go online anytime, 24 hours a day, to see how kids are doing. We need to have a school system that doesn't only talk about pre through 12, but talks about P through 16, because this is all of us together. We need to have a school system that it puts the priority on making kids good stewards of this environment, of this world, that they learn the effectiveness, the honor, the privilege of community service. We need to have a school system that each and every one of you has people, internships, mentoring students in our high schools. We're in the financial district. Every single office here needs to have kids working in it, because if we live for kids, then we got to demonstrate it through our actions. I am not here to ask any of you for a handout. What I'm asking you is to develop a partnership. You heard the secretary say that what sustains a community is having great partners that are long-term, not just for one great lunch, but something that keeps going on forever. I know that the district is sometimes, we haven't been user-friendly, but I will tell you, that new day has already arrived here, because we are user-friendly and we need your help. We need your help not only monetarily, although that doesn't hurt, but we need your help in mentoring kids. We need your help in supporting organizations like the Alliance who truly do walk the talk. They get up here and they look at all the principals here, all the people that are invited here. Why? Because the Alliance believes in our children. They stand behind it, not only with their words, but through action. We need each and every one of you in this community to say that, you know what, every child in San Francisco is my child. What happens here in the Bayview, in the Mission District, in the Western Addition, everything that happens is every one of our childs. That's what this city is about. I want to thank you for believing in our own future, believing in our children, and we ask each and every one of you to come on down and see this new day. Thank you.